ticks.
Okay, we can hear the music rise. You know what that means at home, and hopefully what it means for all of us here as well in the studio, in the stage as well. We have our 4th match coming up here in just a few seconds. It's going to be our second to last Erangel here of the All-Star stage. That's going to be brought to you by the glorious, the amazing Hot Jukes and Kalaris.
The amazing! Oh my goodness. You know what? Speaking of amazing, what a tournament we have had so far today. And it is getting so close to the end. And this is going to be one heck of a race here, Kalaris.
And if any Erangel was going to test them before we go on to Miramar, this might be the worst plane path I have ever seen on an Erangel. I'm not sure how those northern teams are going to be able to react to it. You need backup drops, and if you want to go for those cars and long rotations, you better hope the circle goes your way, because this is punishing.
I mean, what backup drops do you have at this point? I mean, it is so insane. I mean, this is a great drop for, you know, Vampire. They're going to go to Primorsk. We know that for a fact. But the rest of the squads, like you mentioned, they're going to have to hunt down those vehicles and get on the move. So a brutal playing path at such a pivotal point in this tournament.
Terrifying, this playing path, and as you can see already, teams have found themselves in the vicinity of one another that not necessarily used to finding. So you see Punching King there looking towards Alpha 7. They need vehicles. They've got one player getting themselves a decent gun for some coverage. Get on out of there and don't get wounded.
Mafioso still trying to take off. Oh, T does find the DP. That's the gun you want. Does get a couple shots onto Alpha 7, but it looks like they are going to be able to make it just by the skin of their teeth. So this is one of those teams that likes to drop in that north area. Wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see them head straight to Lipovka because, man, Alpha 7, they are a late tournament team, and they're finally trying to turn it up here.
Yeah, trying to catch them to, well, at least second place. I'm going to go with, because first place might be a little bit out of reach. But at least for these guys, was taking a look at the map, the circle is not as brutal as it could have been here. This is playable for teams even that are moving up towards the north. You can get yourself good entry points onto that position when it comes to like entering towards school, entering towards Yasnaya, even if you're going to go way north. But some of these teams will just realize, okay, maybe we can scrap loot and then get to that circle a little bit quicker than our normal drop spot.
100%. Well, remember, everybody watching, it's top 6 that is going to move on to the main tournament. That is that cutoff. That is the goal. And, man, Aegon I8 clutching it up, right, with a huge game.
Yep.
Puts them in that running. They're right below Team Falcons. I know the stadium definitely wants Team Falcons to turn it up here, but I mean, they have to really watch their backs.
Well, of course, as we have a little move on towards this, these kind of engagements that come down are kind of symptomatic of that flame pattern as it does fall here. But D+ has already started things off nicely. Some entry shots from Choco to get some kind of retribution on that, but it's not going to work out.
Yeah, this is going to be against Athon Esports, and they have not had the tournament that they were looking for here. So I'm not surprised if we see D+ Kia really kind of hunt this down and try to get those additional points because they're sitting in 3rd right now.
Yeah. So actually, to go back on what you put your point about the qualification through, of course, Aegon IA are obviously technically through at the moment with that barrier being 7th because you've got Alpha 7 in that top running who have already qualified. So it's really close, as you're saying. If you're looking 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, I think these are the teams that are realistically going to have the strikeout, like they mentioned on the desk, to come towards that top position. Because I don't see Alpha 7 falling out of that top 7, personally.
Doubt it, especially with them turning it up. But I for sure, you know, they're going to be hunting for at least that 2nd place cutoff because the prize pool is just absolutely insane here at this stage.
Yeah.
But again, so now with Alpha 7, of course, you know, making it into that top 6, it is that 7th place cutoff, but it's so close. Look at that. FaZe Clan. S2G.
1 point behind.
1 point. Goodness gracious.
Super close here. So let's see how it goes, because with only 3 games remaining, it can get down to the wire. Already we're seeing all these teams, especially on the west side, really fan out for that kind of trash drop that I was mentioning before. It just works better for the playing path, so you don't have to spend so much time rotating constantly. Your loot's going to be kind of close to what you were going to be going for, but not exactly. So there'll need to be a little bit of adaptation. Maybe you can take some fights and, like an Uber driver delivery, you know, you get a little cheeky crate, all your loot delivered to you.
Hey, you know, sometimes it's better to loot crates rather than buildings, you know? So we'll see who's going to be able to do that here. You know, Alpha 7 are going to get one of their secondary drop locations, so they're going to be pretty used to this loot that they're going to get. But like you mentioned, a lot of these squads are scrambling now with this zone right here on the east side of the map. a lot of teams don't want to head over into that north side. They want to just stick right where they're at, and they're going to have to deal with the loot that they can get.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of times we've seen circles like this end kind of west of shelter. We've seen it in this tournament as well. These kinds of locations, you'll see a lot of teams try and pitch up central and then fan out from there. So, but it'll take them a little while longer as they had to go further afield for that loot. As already, Infinity IQ is going to try and solidify themselves on the other side of the bridge, use this as a checkpoint position, and then scout out ahead. So it's a smart move, it's a patient move.
Yeah, and I could see them right now. They're not definitely don't have the loot that they're really looking for. You see some of them with some scars. They're definitely looking for that M4. My question is this: do you think that with this particular zone, they have to know that some squads went into military? Do you think that this is a checkpoint they want to hold for just a little bit longer and possibly gatekeep some squads?
They could, because for teams on military, when a circle like this kind of slightly includes military, but not too much, you know it's not finishing there, right? It's almost impossibility that it would finish there. So they have to make their transitions. But if I'm military teams coming in for this, there's not too much urgency about making this move super, super fast. So they could stay there for a while, but the longer you stay there and the longer they stay down there, because they still have a little bit of room, the more room you're giving up in the center of a circle like this. So it's kind of a double-edged blade.
Yeah, double-edged sword for sure. Yeah. And that's those 50-50 decisions you have to make as an IGL, and it's so tough. I mean, because already with the clock where it's at, so many of the central positions are already taken up.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy to see how fast these teams are rotating now. As far as squads still outside of this zone, you can see, Infinity IQ are going to hold the bridge for just a little while, see if anybody decides to make the mistake of full sending it down it, which I doubt we will see. But, we still have Vampire barely coming out of Primorsk. I'm really interested to see how they're going to rotate in and at what their strategy is, because at this point they have such a lead.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They could pretty much do whatever they want
to a degree, yes.
Right? So, I mean, honestly, if they do good in this game, it's like lockdown.
Super
lockdown, right? So, at that point, if there's a squad in that 7th, 8th place position, they could decide, we don't want to deal with you in the main tournament. That's a possibility.
Yeah, and usually you would kind of attack teams that drop near you, which makes it easier for you on early stages, like Erangel, for example, to have more room. You get them more loot, more freedom on your rotations and stuff like that. So if you're teams that drop near Vampire on other battlegrounds, and you're not in that top 7 just yet, or just slightly on the bubble, you might want to be a little bit cautious in the next couple of games.
Well, yeah, so I think that this is 100% one of the most important matches in this tournament. Especially for those mid-era teams. They want to be able to put up some major points and solidify their spot. Next zone, about to pop. We can see the plane path. Uh-oh.
What, we dropping?
Last time we saw the plane fly like that, Team Falcon's got a chicken.
That did happen. I don't know whether it was correlation.
I don't know. Could have been a sign.
But look at this. I mean, obviously you're saying about that bridge camp as well on the west side. We're also waiting for that circle to pop. Infinity IQ does have some M249s in this. They are vehicle destroyers. And they're still in the circle, and it's going to force all of these teams from that military island up. So if Infinity IQ still holds this, they have the armaments capable to cause some major damage.
And I think that's what they're going to do. With a zone like this, they don't have to move just yet, and getting those early eliminations could definitely prove to be fruitful. Let's take a look so far. D plus Kia with 2, Sem9 with 1. Rest, pretty much everybody is still in this lobby. Here goes S2G on the rotation right near Rozhok. They're going to be coming through that north side, looking for a spot maybe in the shelter area.
And it's important for them to be a little bit faster about these things, because I feel like some of the games today, even though they did well on the Sandhog, they've been a little bit slow here and there. But let's see if they can kind of evade the eye lines of FaZe here as they're kind of rotating right up against them. So we could see some shots from those vehicles very soon.
Yeah, they want to play it really carefully. I think that's another big struggle that S2G has been having, is losing these players early on rotation. And if you're just a little bit too late, they're going to catch you slipping. Let's see what enought is all the way in the south here at top of the mountain, maybe looking to get some... Oh, they caught Trick? Okay.
How did they find him? And well, I mean, I guess he's gone. They can see the buggies in the distance as well. If they're able to get a knock on this, that would probably set a new record for the tournament so far. But they see one team ahead of them. Now they see them rotating west. They might think that their main problem is alleviated on their rotation across the bridge, but we still have that 3-1 split from Infinity IQ on the other side.
What is Agon8 going to do? I can understand that they want to get that elimination point because they are in a heck of they're in some big trouble with this rotation. So they wanted to get that elimination, but now here comes the blue zone. It is coming in hot. I think at this point, with the time they're at, they're going to have to go out that bridge or start swimming.
Yeah, probably. As for now, it looks like Infinity IQ has actually moved away from that little bridge camp that was going on. They had Bensu up at the top here, scouting out if any teams were coming in west of him, and indeed they did, so they kind of moved away from that. You can see Gladiators was one of those teams that was coming in the west side of Milta here, and DRS has got Milta on lockdown by the looks of things.
Oh, and real fortunate timing for Agon8. They're going to be able to push up through this bridge very safely now that Infinity IQ have ejected and decided to take this eastern side of Milta. Yep, they're going to hold on this compound for now. Wait to see where this next zone's going to go. Meanwhile, Bezexis, our last place team, rotating the hard way through the other bridge.
Yeah, it's going to take a little while, expend some of your resources here when it comes to meds, but DRS is already taking shots from Milta towards R8, who is in the compounds just north of it. We're waiting for that circle shift to come on in. Agon8, as you can see on the south of that bridge, playing things very slowly, realizing there could be a bridge camp, as we mentioned. That's already moved away, so there is still a path for them to move and transition through, but there are some teams in compounds above them.
Oh!
And that's quite fortunate for them.
Woo! They are screaming for joy right now. If you're Agon8, you are so hyped. You don't got to move. You can hold this bridge for a little bit longer and extend your play. Now, teams on the north, Sem9, D plus Kia, right? They are going to have to move through south, and I'll tell you what, all the spots already in this zone are already taken because half this zone is cut in half with water.
Yeah, definitely. And Spray's come in here from 6 to try and get something done for Falcons. They want to solidify themselves in this top 7 positions at the moment. And they're going to be surrounded by quite a few teams. And also, they're going to have teams likely coming down from Lumberyard above them. So some of those compounds are really strong to hold on to. But as time goes on, I mean, it's an edge position, so it might lose value.
It might lose value indeed, but with the zone cut in half the way it is, I think right now they just got to cut it out and just focus on their backs. All the teams that could be rotating right into them. Meanwhile, S2G in the thick of it inside of Milta, completely surrounded. We might get an urban finish here.
We might. Milta is a very big fixture of all of this. And Ray looking for an opportunity. I think he had an MG3 in his hands. But anyway, we've got ourselves just battles going on everywhere. Newsy's down because he's kind of the Vampires is kind of sandwiched in between the Agon8 as well as Gladiator's situation here. And they don't have that much cover to work with.
Rules looks to get a double nade onto S2G. So DRS is actually going to be pushing S2G here in this situation. And one nade could definitely make things really difficult for them. But meanwhile, with all the action happening, here comes Alpha 7 onto iCurd. 2 knocks in hand. Smoke coming out for Carrillo. Looking to buy themselves some time. They want to keep every single player they can up here now.
Got to get them up. As you can see, for a lot of these teams in the top half of this board at the moment, they're all in combat, all trying to find themselves and wiggle a way through here. iCurd looking from the distance. They're on the edge here and trying to find a decent battle against Alpha 7. They have a lot of off angles here. They need everybody right in line of sight here against Alpha 7 to try and shut them down and get them out of this lobby.
iCurd hurt big time. Only down to 2 players left. Senathexa has his eyes locked on them. This is all the way at the edge of the zone right here. So Alpha 7, by the skin of their teeth, they still have all players up. Yeah. But they're gonna have. But this is where they like to be. They like to be in those edge situations.
And iCurd, I think, is bailing on this because Ferrari just hit a big M24 shot on one of their members, which causes even more complication for them. So Aram just going to run over to the Wizard Tower, maybe play things out for a little bit longer, try and play for placement, but there's no way he's getting the rest of his team up.
That's on Esports, first team to go out here in this match number 4. Team Falcons, one of the squads right on the cusp of making it in or getting kicked out. So they are still holding strong here. Next zone about to pop. If it goes in the water, Calaris,
no, Milta.
Oh, it's going to be a party.
I want Milta. Give me Milta. I want to see some urban endings once again. We've got Milta in a lot of this here as all these teams now going to scramble on through. But the same D plus Kia going up against Sen9 here. DBS is ringing out across the battleground and doing a lot of damage, and they will be able to shut them down. D plus Kia got to revive themselves, though.
Taking out Sem9 is huge right now. Sem9 were in that 15th place position, but more points for D plus Kia as we're in 3rd place starting to. Let's take a look at this nade that we saw a little bit earlier. That double nade hurt big time. 2 players from S2G out just like that.
Yeah, definitely. So now, as all these teams here trying to find themselves a building, anything that they can try and play from, sometimes transitioning through all of these positions is very, very deadly indeed. Thankfully for DRS, actually this 2-2 split that they've got going on, really not that bad. They're controlling quite a bit of space, even though S2G is in the middle of them here, so they can kind of pincer S2G and keep them locked in. Keep a good eye on them.
Yeah, and there's no way I don't think they can push them. There's too many teams surrounding them.
Agreed.
If they go outside, they're just going to get popped. So for right now, DRS has to deal with their neighbors and hope that the zone comes to them. If it does, then it's going to be one heck of a party in Milta. Looking outside, Alpha 7 still outside of the zone. Team Falcon still outside of the zone. And now we're finally seeing D plus Kia come on down from the north.
Steady as she goes here for the moment, though, as Agona IA is in a scary situation. They're looking over towards Milta, realizing probably how many teams are in there and thinking to themselves, how do we make this work? In fact, we're already seeing one of them swimming about a little bit. So that's, again, kind of a salvage mission for them, considering the position. It is so difficult for them to try and get into Milta, because if they do, if they even have vehicles, they could try and bomb it in, but then they know 6 teams or so is just going to gun them down.
100%. So Aegon I8, again, a team that's right there. There you can see them 7th place position, only 1 point separating them from S2G and FaZe Clan. So they are forced to come in through the south side due to the plane path that we saw a little bit earlier on. And this position's, you got a lot of angles that you could be able to hold there, so they could definitely hold it down for now. But once that zone pops over and you don't have a vehicle, it's going to be tough.
I feel like they needed to use the chaos of all the teams moving whilst this was going to be the case, because Alpha 7 is going for that big transition along the beach side here to try and move on across. You can see Agon IA realizing that people are just trying to leapfrog ahead of them a little bit here. And they do see them in the distance, but shots will come in. This is the problem. If you're trying to make this work, it is so brutal to do.
Alpha 7 moving in a lot earlier than I think they normally see them, but they try to get that center position. They're going to lose most likely 2 players here in this spot. Yeah, Carrillo is completely stuck. So it's going to be just 2 members of Alpha 7. Meanwhile, DRS have this spot on lockdown.
An absolute rat race if you're going to try and make this work. It's not possible to try and somehow barrel into the Milta when there's this many teams looking at you. So for DRS, shutting down a lot of this. For these teams on the edges as well. I mean, Gladiators, for example, as well, it makes it even harder for some of those teams north to try and find a spot, because it's all fields above them. As you see, iCurd is gone. There was an MG3 out there on that box, but I don't think they'll go get it.
Well, I'll tell you what, one thing that we got to talk about too, DRS now eliminated 2 players from Alpha 7, right? That is the team that's in 4th place, right? Just a couple spots below them.
Yeah.
I think they may want to prioritize making sure they get them out as early as possible. Even though they have a little bit of lead, you do not want Alpha 7 to get on fire. And this zone shift, we were hoping for a Milta finish, but it had to go in the fields.
And this is going to be rough, really rough for so many of those teams in the east side. Not only do you have to transition from building to building, which is slow with the blue on your back, but then you're going to have to somehow find a spot in all of this here. As Agonai is now going to push up against Vampire. This isn't a bad move considering with the offensive smokes that they've used as well, they have blocked out their lines of sight.
Beautiful shotgun right there from Schweppes. Nice pre-nades there from Vampire to help slow this down as well. Here comes Balak trying to throw some util, trying to get a nade of their own. Schweppes is going to be able to come in through this side. I'm surprised the rest of his team isn't there. Schweppes is dominating Aegon I8.
That's 2. Will he be able to get... Oh, no, he will actually get knocked by Tixie from across the road here. But can this be done anymore? There is 1 member left. Tony K up on that roof to be able to deal with it. But look at this. Guardians is laying in. Wait, that's all! What a corker! Catching Tony K. Vampires is down.
Huge nade there for Aegon I8. The points that they absolutely needed. And I'm surprised with that nade, it's going to help give them some time, because if this fight went any longer, you know Gladiators were coming.
Definitely, definitely. That was over as quick as it was starting. But then we go. That's Gladiators here holding a position north of it, which is so super, super powerful. I mean, you're going to see Meku probably eventually flex into some of the buildings north of them as well, unless they're very keen about sticking completely together. But Donuts here going up against Falcons. How can they do?
Let's see what they're going to be able to do here. Looking to get some nades going. Team Falcons applying that pressure. This is going to be a massive push. 1 minute 34 on the clock to have a little bit of breathing room here. But that initial knock with that nade is going to be so crucial. TQ heading up the front lines. 1 knock's already on them. Donuts Farrell going to have to hold it down here. Nice little bank shot with that nade. TQ completely stuck because of that Molotov. And this is just a back and forth utility usage, just slowly picking away at Donut's barrel.
Nice little peek around, but Naoto will actually go down as well from the reinforcing shots coming on in from Punching King. At the same time, though, I mean, all those smokes that were thrown outside offensively and defensively just caused a little bit of chaos down here, a little bit of uncertainty about how those nades were going to, as you say, bank off those windowsills, etc. And now Punching King is coming around here in brute force. Got himself 3 eliminations so far. 6 gets the DBS on action, and that is Donuts down here in 14th.
Beautifully done there from Team Falcons, right when they needed it too. They need these points. Take a look at this replay here, this battle between Gamers8 and Vampire Esports. That nade onto Tony K was just, oh,
perfect.
The bank was open. And I'll tell you what, them putting up a goose egg, Vampire putting up a goose egg here is huge for DRS Gaming. If they get a big game, we could have a battle for first place.
Could. If they're able to kind of chain a few together, it would be quite the feat for them to wrestle away #1 from Vampire. From that Empire. Oof. Very scary.
Well, you know what? A team that we saw pretty scary in day #1 was Bigatron. They had such a strong finish, but we've been waiting to hear from them now. Oh, a knock back and forth is going to make things that much more difficult for Bigatron. Yuhai is going to have to make a play here.
Trying for it. 6 has already positioned himself. Goes for it. No, but it's not going to be enough at all. Vampire. Actually, we could even hear the crowd there go wild for that one. Taking out Bigatron.
Team Falcons pushing the envelope right where they need to. Oh, a double nade in synchrony. Nice. Look at that. Does it hit? Oh, both of them just barely missing the mark.
I mean, if they're in that smoke at that point, because they're aiming for exactly there, then that is a perfect play. But, of course, they were a bit more... Falcons was a bit more aware than just sitting in that smoke. Sit in the warehouse for the moment. You're not in the blue up until this point, of course, and try and get them out.
8 eliminations is so sweet for them because getting into this next zone is going to be almost impossible. Once they open up that hill, once they go over that hill, it's going to be a wide open range. They're going to go through the blue zone. A lot of people looking right at them, and just like I mentioned, we just saw them take it out.
You're totally right. I mean, if you would look at the map in general, everyone's playing edge because at the center of this circle, there's nothing there. There's a few hay bales. You need your cars to try and make that work, and, well, this is a Hail Mary.
Drive, TQ, trying to survive, looking to get into a dip, and I might be able to do it, so he survives for just a little second longer, but you got to know those shots are coming. Oh, a big battle, though. Here we go, Yangon Galacticos against R8 Esports. Ragnarok's on fire, and with only 1 HP, goes down.
The end of the world burns away. It is difficult for Ragnarok to do much about that, but they're going to be eliminated. Meanwhile, Infinity IQ still alive, still present here, trying to get things done against S2G. Kalsi actually was able to finish huge, though, and now Gladiators is the one that's going to be pressured here down towards the south by Gamers8, trying to make things work.
And here they go. They're on the outside. Here comes the pressure. Nades coming on in. It's a battle inside of the smokes, the battle of the DBSs. Who's going to be able to hit those shots? McHugh with the UMP hitting those hardcore pre-fires. He's got to be able to clutch it up for his squad. Goes, gets those thirsts, gets those points. But the shots, he take them down. Gamers8 isn't done yet. Oh, but that actually is going to be their ticket punch.
DRS trying to move across here with some DBSs as well as umps in effect, trying to do something wherever they can. The Saiga, though, able to do something from Mela, but no, he will get knocked as well. Trade at the moment on the stairs, trying to finish that off quickly here to just bag some of those elimination points as quickly as possible. Trying to spray through onto the smoke just in case there's a pre-fire as they're looking to loop on around here. But FaZe is crumbling against this, and they're going to fall.
That is a brutal loss for FaZe Cam right there. They are just on that cusp of trying to make it in to qualify for the main tournament. Going out there is rough, but DRS, they know what's at stake. They know they need a 20-plus game here if they want to challenge for that first place title and those beautiful 6-digit prizes.
I mean, for those 4 teams still alive in that top 6, they're just trying to solidify themselves there in those positions to try and qualify on through. Matic now, maybe looking for a little bit of cheeky loot here and there. Rules tries to make the cross. DRS already did a good job at pushing on FaZe and being able to make that work, but pushing into these fields, unfortunately, it is very, very difficult.
100%. Yeah, there's very little cover here. Yeah, you see some hay bales, but that's not going to be enough. And DRS Gaming gonna go out to pop up blue. So we're able to secure nice 10-point finish. There's not going to be enough to catch up to Vampires, but it's definitely going to create that separation from these other squads. But looking down, what was that?
A commitment to sacrifice 3 there as DRS. They understand the severity of the situation. I mean, considering that the teams that are still in are also trying to scrap for those top spots, they don't want to give them any.
TQ with the YOLO push all the way to this spot. Might be able to secure another point, but then finally gets caught. So Young on Galacticos are going to be able to hold it down for a little bit longer. Vic Q, wow, with some crazy shots on top of this roof. He's got a lot of vision of this land.
Yeah, definitely here. Gladiators, for them, they feel like this is their game to win. They've got themselves that strong southern position. They have roofs to play for a little while. All the other teams have to move before them into the firing range of Gladiators, who are 3 on a roof. They know that their back is totally fine here. It's bold, but it works here for the situation.
And that's what you want, too, because if one of them gets knocked, they could easily get picked up, and they can continue that pressure, because this is all open field. They know they have the best spot in this circle. Next zone, if it goes down to Gladiators, it is 1,000% their game. But let's see where it's going to go. Matic driving around, catches an off angle, and now knowing where the rest of the teams are, yeah, I'm absolutely happy to see Gladiators push the envelope. They want to use the blue zone to their advantage.
You've got to take the initiative here as them, because when you've got a ridge line like this that D plus Kia is actually working with, Matic sends forward, scouts that out, realizes opponents have been moving up there here. There's not a huge sense of urgency for Galacticos to move from the little dip that they found there. So you want to make sure that D plus Kia isn't taking complete control of this ridgeline, because that would put you in a bad spot as Gladiators.
Huge fight here. Can't stress it enough. Gladiators, prior to this match, they were in 5th place. D plus Kia were in 3rd. Looking to put some major points on the board. Remember, as it goes through the prize pool here, almost every placement in that top 6 goes an extra $10,000 in the bank. You want to get every single placement that you can get. D plus Kia, Forrest going to try to open it up with a nade here. If he catches it, that's going to help him out big time, as the zone does make things that much more difficult for Young and Galacticos. They are in big trouble.
How many nades do they expend, though, on dislodging Galacticos here? Because they may end up needing them against Gladiators down the line. That's the big question. Fabian still has 3 available. He was looking that way, looking to boost up. Not too much on Forrest. A few smokes, 1 nade, 1 flash.
Forrest just full lay down right now with his eyes on the back of the zone, and I cannot blame him at all. They want to secure that position first, get those points, and then deal with Gladiators right afterwards. Okay, we're going to see Gladiators make a rotation to the other side, or at least one player, so they're working a 3-1 split.
And the circle confirms that there is a timer on people's heads, because that circle is flat. There is nothing to work with. Smokes are already going down. Everyone understands the severity of the situation here. Galacticos is going to move up, separate themselves a little bit. So even if nades come in, they won't both get knocked at the same time, but they are now very much in proper nade range. And that's Docile actually getting himself one to start things off.
Catching Burnout Boy is so huge there. Only 1 player left up for Young on Galacticos. Here comes the nades in return from Romeo Boy, but it's not going to be enough here. He needed the rest of his team. Meanwhile, Gladiators are hearing this fight, and now here comes their utility.
Yeah, good spray down by Satan to start things off against Meku. Tixie's going to try and reinforce this on that left-hand side, but realizes that maybe going that too far would leave him exposed. So going for that pick-up, but it's huge as D plus Kia is able to get the connection. Gladiators are going to scramble to try and get things going.
Massive nade there from D plus Kia. The game is now on their side. They know it. Here they come in hot. Here come the DBSs if they got him. Full fresh suppression. Satan up front. Jump shot. Gets clapped by Matic. And now Forrest goes down.
No way.
Gladiators are not going down without a fight.
Way.
The run over from Kitsune.
Oh my God.
That is the game.
How did they do that? They almost have faces of disbelief themselves.
Look at them.
And the South Koreans are absolutely devastated by that one. Honestly, I thought they had that in the bag, Hot Jukes. But look at what Gladiators was able to do in those final moments.
I could hear Kitsune right now. I could hear Kitsune's voice saying, "We weren't even worried. We weren't even worried for a second. We had this from the bag.
Easy game.
No sweat." What an unbelievable turn of a yeah, there it is, right there. Just say, "Hey, what'd I tell you? What did I tell you?"
I was about to praise the patience, once again, of D plus Kia. I was about to praise how they were using their utility, saving it for what is most important, but somehow, some way, Gladiators make magic happen on this stage. They can barely even believe it here as they're able to finish things off with a run over of all things Hot Juice.
Unbelievable. I mean, that nade I thought was going to turn the tides for them.
Yes.
But hey, you know what? Sometimes you just got to believe in the DB.